but I was fat. My mom said, do you want to do something about it, or do you want to just complain? My mom had me in Weight Watchers when I was 10.
And still control your weight, even desserts. Join a Weight Watchers meeting near you today.
How did that work at 10 years old being on Weight Watchers?
It was,
For over 30 years, Gunnar Peterson has been the go-to expert for transforming Hollywood stars and elite athletes, working with names like Sylvester Stallone, the Kardashians, and the LA Lakers. When the best want results, they call Gunnar.
I'll be the first one to say, I'm a shit businessman. I am terrible. Why would I succeed in my business? There's no reason. I'm just like any other trainer out there. I will just outwork you. Our daughter got sick. She got cancer. I said to my wife, sitting here and just feeling bad for her and for us. How can I take this situation by the horns, wrestle it to the ground, and pin this bitch? I have a puke bucket, right? It's painted pink for obvious reasons. I'm like, oh, here, little boy, you puking? Third time he puked, he goes, it's out of me. Let's fucking go. I was like, oh my God, it's psychotic. That's why they're pros. If you get into personal training to make a shit ton of money and have a private island and a helicopter, you are as stupid as most people think trainers are. It's like when you're young and you start to dabble in sexual stuff and your buddy goes, dude, I did this thing. It's amazing. Nobody's ever. I'm like, you didn't invent a position, bozo. They think they found the hook. The hook is...
Gunnar Peterson, thanks for making the trip over here, man. Look, the one thing I obsess about all the time is time and not wasting people's time. It's super valuable, the fact that you're here. My audience, man, they're going to listen to this for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. The reason you're here is I think you're going to provide a lot of value. And we were just talking, you're funny as shit. So I'm excited about this.
I don't know if I can do that on camera.
But look, you've worked with some of the best celebrities out there. I'm not going to name all of them, billionaires. It's very clear why you're here. But in your own words, what's the thing that Gunnar Peterson is going to be able to teach these guys for the next 90 minutes to 2 hours that you don't think anybody else can do?
Well, I don't know that I would say there's anything I can do that nobody else can do. I would say whatever it is you're thinking of doing in fitness, because I'm going to stay in my lane, you can do it. And I actually just had this conversation. I was in New Jersey with a guy I work with who I love. And we talked about whatever your thought is, your dream is, your vision is, someone's done it bigger. Whatever. Mm-hmm. So for most people, obviously there's some outliers, but if you want to open a gym, it's been done. You want to open a huge gym, it's been done. You want to own a plane, it's been done. A bigger plane, it's been done. So don't shortchange yourself. And I say that again, staying in the fitness vein, because I think that's where the questions will come. Can I do this in fitness? What about this? But it does translate to other avenues. Right? If you want to do it, you can. It's going to be work, and it's going to be that little gap you're closing between being at 97, 98 and wanting to get to 99, 100. That is the hardest part. That is going to take the longest time, including what it took you to get to that 97, 98, but it's worth it. And if it's what you really want, it's worth it. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about that. I think most people really want that. Most people want six-pack abs. Most people want $1 million plus in their bank account. And you're saying this from a couple of perspectives. Number one, you've been a very successful, and I know you're going to do a lot of self-deprecation here, but I'm going to say you've been a very successful entrepreneur yourself. And why I say that, especially today, I think everybody wants a personal brand. Like that's the holy grail today is build your personal brand, and you get to monetize that through water. And
I think everybody is a brand.
For sure.
Everybody. And some just like with brands as we think of them more traditionally, some brands better than others. Some brands can go away and you won't miss them. Other brands you think should stay forever and you hope that your kids will enjoy that brand. And that's why things that come back, retro, whether it's a drink or whether it's a car, or they bring back things, they reboot so many movies. Like, some of those things that brand-wise should be timeless and eternal, but some of them, God, I didn't need to see them the first time. That's not I would never be self-deprecating. I just try to keep it real and keep it honest. Yeah. People go, it's amazing. It's not amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm a trainer. It doesn't have to be dressed up any more than that. I got to work with phenomenal people. I was in the right place, right time, and I delivered a product that they saw value in. And I always try to deliver the product a little better, a little better, a little better. That's always been the thing. 1%. How can I make their overall experience just a tiny bit better? Because at the end of the day, you're in a service industry. And a lot of trainers, I think, lose the plot on that. And, I fired them. Listen, dickhead, you can't fire someone who hired you. You don't have a grasp of the English language. That's not how you quit on them. Sure. Now you're a quitter. So you got to be, I think that comes, I hear trainers say that. That to me comes out of an insecurity of the trainer understanding their role in the subservient service position, which you are. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean there's no shame with comes with that. You're putting yourself out there in a service capacity, and somewhere along the line, it gets blurry in terms of who's running the show. And the trainer will go, I'm running. You're not, dude. You're running the workout. But the show, the behind the scenes, the payment, the transactions, they're running that. And if you botch your part, that goes away real fast.
See, and that's what I love about you. I think you just get it. Like everything you're saying is super simple, but there's also this balance, because I think I spent my whole career working with ultra high net worth people. And I think as you start to work with them, you get better. People know, hey, this guy's working with Sylvester Stallone, The Rock, the Kardashians. You start to build your own celebrity, your own ego could get boosted. And I think that's where a lot of people go off track. How are you able to still, like what you said, hey, I'm a trainer. This is still a subservient type of position. The fact that you stayed there is, how do you do that?
But there are hierarchies in the world. That doesn't mean I'm a lower person in terms of people. And, when judgment day comes, I'm not viewed differently. We're all the same there. But in this role, I'm there and they're there. They've hired you. Without their hiring you, there is no you. I mean, you can go and do free workouts in the park, but then you have autonomy. But other than that, you were hired. You work for them. It's not a bad thing. Just come to terms with it.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the average person. Like I said, they all want six-pack abs. They all want the big bank account. But at the end of the day, most of them are failing that. We can look, people are getting fatter. They're getting poorer. The wealth gap is widening. Is this happening because people are lazy, or they're just delusional of what it takes from your own success, the people that you see competing at the highest level? Like what's the difference? Why are they not there?
I think people, human nature, look for a shortcut. Water takes the easiest way downhill, and they're looking for that easy path. And I don't know of it in fitness. I know things that touch on it. I know things you could claim are as close to the fountain of youth as we know currently. Some of those things have to come from a doctor. But, some of those things can be bought out of an unmarked white van in the parking lot behind Whole Foods. I'm just saying. But other than that, it's hard work, and it's boring, and it's tedious, and it's repetitive. And that challenges a lot of people more than the actual fitness endeavor itself does. They're challenged by the boredom, by the repetition, more than they're challenged by the task.
And doesn't that transcend into everything you do, though, into business, into anything? That same.
I'll be the first one to say, and I'm sure my brother will echo it, and my dad would be behind him going, yeah, he's right. I'm a shit businessman. I am terrible. And
why do you say that?
That's not self-deprecating. I'll show you some deals that fell apart. Because I don't think like a businessman.
Explain that.
I don't think of the deal. That's not my, or if I do, it's number 5 on the list. I think of when I meet someone who's sniffing around at training with me or something, I don't think, how can I parlay this into something? Or, if I got this guy, I could buy that, fill in the blank. My thought is, how can I get this person to embrace the process? How can I get this person to love the working out so much that they commit to it, they lock in, they're consistent, which is the key. This could be a one-word podcast. Be consistent, got to go. If I can get them to do that once we get down the line a little bit, they'll look up and go, holy shit, and I got results. Because to me, the results are aftermath. The results are secondary. The looks, the aesthetics, that all comes with being consistent. So then you think, and that's when you should be thinking, how can I parlay what has happened with this person into creating a revenue stream that pays me when I sleep? But I don't think like that. I think about, on Monday, if I have them do this and they're coming back Tuesday, I have to make sure the workout serves them but gives what we did on Monday time to recover. I'm thinking in that way. And that's not a businessman. That's a gym monkey, meathead trainer brain. And I embrace that. I'm not trying to not be who I am.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'll push back on that a little bit, just because I think if you go into any business, from what I've seen, I work with a lot of startups, thinking about how much money am I going to make, it usually never works.
Never. I know a trainer 1,000 years ago, this kid, he was working with a big time Hollywood producer, and the guy took him in the summer, the guy took him away for a couple weeks. I forget where they went, somewhere like, they might have gone to Aspen. They went somewhere in the mountains, and the guy had a second home there. And when the guy came back, the trainer came back, he came in the gym, and he literally had one of those large, like not someone's personal checking account. He had like a business check that had been cut to him that was typed on, nobody hand wrote it. And he snapped it in my face and he goes, "Gunnar, this is what it's all about." And I looked at him and I go, "Dude, that's like number 8 on the list of what it's all about." And that's close to 30 years ago that he said that. But I stand by that. Yeah. I think if that's what you're shooting for, if that's your North Star, at some point you're going to come up short, or you're going to miss out on all those moments, right? Like if all you're thinking about when you have a kid is when they're going to get to college, you're going to miss out on a lot of wonderful moments throughout the course of their life.
It's a great analogy, but yeah, I think like I said, when you start thinking about money, it never works out. If you start thinking about the impact that you can make, and that's essentially what you're doing, that tends to be a better path.
Yeah, you hear trainers though, it's a little too Gandhi, Mother Teresa for me when it's like, "Oh, I just want everybody, I want to help people." Shut up. Yeah. You still have rent to pay. You still have a car note. Yeah. You still have to eat. You still have to buy sneakers. You still it's okay to want to earn money. I mean, that's demonized a lot of times in health and wellness. Like the doctors, they care. Who's paying that country club membership?
Right.
Who's buying that watch? Like, it's okay to want to earn money, but I think when you want to find a way to skirt the actual work, to shortchange that, to farm it out to others while you earn, then you're more of a businessman and you're less. Like, I trained 5 people today, but I didn't get home till 9 o'clock last night from being away for a week. I was at the gym at 4:30 this morning. I still train people. I trained 5 people today to get over here on time to see you. I'm not trying to not train the people. I like training the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and you say that, I mean, and we talked about this when you got here. My wife and I were taking bets at what time you got up this morning. I think we both came to the consensus that it was 4 o'clock and 4:30. So you're slacking, man. So you got
4:30 is when I got to the gym.
Okay, so you were up way before that.
And by the way, I'll go. I'm going to touch on that too. The alarm was set for 4. I got up at 3:50, and I was like, "What am I doing? I'll sleep for 10 minutes." That's insanity. I was just out. But there's no heroism in getting up early. The people go, "Oh, it's amazing you get up so early." It's not amazing, knothead. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's amazing if I go to bed at 1 a.m. and I get up at 4, or it's probably more stupid than amazing. There's nothing heroic. You don't get extra points. You're not viewed in some different light because you wake up early. There are a lot of people that wake up early. There are a lot of people that work that shift. It's when you wake up in relation to when you go to bed that makes that more or less impressive. So I don't take any, it's not, "Wow, you got up so early." Yeah. I got home at 9 o'clock, 8. I was asleep by 10.
So you talk about this, and these are some of the traits, obviously, shows American capitalist. And you're here because even though you say you're not a great businessman, I know where you live. I know the house you sold in Beverly Hills. You've had some monetary success in this business. But what's interesting though, I think this is a lot of businesses, and I think especially today, we talk about this personal brand. We were talking the other day, and you said you really can't make money as a trainer. It's beyond that. What does that mean?
No, I think. Did you paraphrase me? I think what I said. I think because I've said this before. I think I would say it like this: if you get into personal training to make a shit ton of money and have a private island and a helicopter, you are as stupid as most people think trainers are. And I stand by that. If you got in this because You love being in a gym. You love working with people. You like, turning their frown upside down kind of thing and making them, or finding a way to make something that they had formally concluded was uncomfortable, unpleasant, and just didn't want to do, and they resisted and they pushed back all the time on it. And you found a way to get them to be into that, and you like doing that. You want to be the advocate for fitness, then it's a great job. And you can make a great living in it, and you can meet some amazing people. I've met people that I never would have met, never, because of fitness. It all comes back, it all comes back to the gym. Everything. What's that? That was a Jersey Shore, and I didn't see the show. My apologies.
GTL, Gym Tan Laundry.
Yeah, but I think there was another line where they said gym is life.
Oh, right,
because
right.
I used to say that. I used to say it to some people when they say something about the gym. I go, gym is life. Without the gym, put it this way, without the gym, I don't know you. I met you through Dan Fleischman. I met Dan Fleischman through Ed Milet. I met Ed Milet through his seeing me doing fitness things. Keep following.
Back to fitness.
Keep following the crumbs. It goes back to, for me anyway, everything comes back to fitness.
Isn't that about, for anyone, for me, it's managing money, right? So everything has started from managing money, which got me on the television, which got me to this relationship, but it comes down to having a focus on something and sticking with it long enough to be great at it. Do you agree with that?
That I agree 100%. Yeah. Did you read, what's that book? There's one, Talent Overrated. I'm thinking of the other one, The Talent Code.
I haven't.
Great book, older book, it's been around for a while. I think it's Daniel Coyle. Wow, good memory. Caffeine works. And they talk about having done a study. They did it on tennis players, but the one on piano was remarkable. I thought they took all these people and they had them work on their piano, right? Whether it was 3 hours a week or 10 hours a week or 30 hours a week. And I'm, again, paraphrasing from the book. You can look at it for the real numbers. But the people who did no one who did the 30 hours a week, and there's a lot of double negatives in my next sentence, no one who did the 30 hours a week wasn't great, and no one who did the 3 hours a week wasn't less good than the other ones. So there were no naturals. There was no anybody who kind of dipped their toe in the water and ended up being great, and there was nobody who was diligent who sucked. It just didn't happen like that. So to your point, I think if you do stay with it long enough and you do engage and you allow yourself to go through the rough spots, you come out better at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael Chan was just here and he said, it's not that people don't do the right things, it's that they don't do them for long enough.
Correct. I agree 100% with that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, okay, so...
Or they do them for long enough at a certain level, at a certain intensity, and they keep bumping up against that glass ceiling, which it is, and they don't break through. They just don't. They hit that, and that's enough resistance that they go, I'm good. I'm good enough. And I do that on a lot of things in my life because there's some things I just don't care about or enjoy. I'm like a fitness weirdo. Like if you look at my Instagram, if you look at my algorithm, there's so much weird fitness, health, bizarre stuff that comes up. It's because I go down those rabbit holes, and I still do. I've been training people for 35 years, and I was into fitness probably for 8 years before that. And that's just the way I think. I'm driving to the gym thinking my legs are a little sore, but I could still do the hip bridge today. I could probably load up on that. It's been a minute since I've been on that machine. I'll load up on hip. Why am I thinking about hip bridges at 4:20 in the morning? That's crazy for someone who's been in it this long. I should be thinking about other things, but I'm not. I'm thinking about my workout, which I don't always plan as diligently or in as detailed a fashion as I do the people I'm training. Those I prep the night before, I map them out, ballparking rep schemes, but definitely putting the movements in there with regressions in case it doesn't work out. And I mean, that's not normal, and I know that. but I also don't apologize for it. That's what I'm fired up about. And I think the people who aren't fired up about something, doesn't have to be what I'm fired up about, but if you're not fired up about something, like in my opinion, you're not getting you're not squeezing all the drops out of this life.
Well, that brings up kind of like this age-old adage, and I've got a daughter now, older daughter, who's getting ready to go make her senior year at high school. She's getting ready to apply for college, and then like there's always this question, right, of passion, purpose over profits. And I kind of get that. But like you said, at the end of the day, you've got to pay the bills. I'm hearing you talk about this. You're obviously passionate about what you're doing. Was that like always a passion, or what do you think about that saying in general? Go follow your passion.
My mom, who passed away a couple years ago, was my best friend far and away. When I got out of college, when I left Duke, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't one of those kids who always knew they wanted to. Did you always know you wanted to do money stuff?
I had no idea.
Okay. I like that. I honestly respect that. And the other ones, it's not that I don't respect, I'm just in awe. Well, I knew when I was 7, I want to be a doctor. I took apart a frog. I'm like, what? I didn't have that with anything. I loved sports. I loved, the same thing kids like. But I was fat. I was a fat kid. My mom had me in Weight Watchers when I was 10. She asked. She didn't tell. She said, because I bitched about it. She said,
Were you wearing the husky pants?
I was only in husky pants, and we got them from a place in Houston called Mr. Z's. I'll never forget that place. In the back, they're like, Huskies in the back.
I was getting mine at Sears, and my wife's 12 years younger than me. She doesn't know what Huskies are, but yeah, I was telling her about those. So you were the Husky boy, too.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. You didn't.
She's off camera.
That
here.
wasn't something you brag about at school. But yeah, my mom said, "Do you want to do something about it, or do you want to just complain?" Well, I know the answer. I want to do something about it. So she took me to Weight Watchers meetings
How did that work at 10 years old, being on Weight Watchers?
in Houston, Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. It was. Look, I don't know. I don't know that I would recommend that as a course of action for your child in today's world. But I know my mom's heart and my mom's intentions were all good and always were. But like the next day, I was having, and remember, this is the 70s, tuna fish sandwiches, the tuna fish mixed with mustard, not mayonnaise,
No mayo.
wheat bread, and that was a brand new thing. No more white bread. And Fresca, remember those soda?
Yeah. Those are horrible.
At the time, but they had no calories, so that's a win. And so, of course, you go in a calorie deficit like that, knowing now. So the next meeting at Weight Watchers, I was down 5 pounds. So in my mind, I won, and it was over, and I went right back to 2 ice cream sandwiches at lunch. But when I found fitness, when I figured out that I could control the shapes and the proportions and how this looked compared to this and this was here, that was super powerful to a fat kid who felt victimized. And we don't do victims in our house. My mom didn't allow it, and I don't allow it. You are not a victim. Take control, son, and figure it out and fix it, because you have the tools, you are smart enough, and now you have to learn to be strong enough to apply that. So I think if I did that, and I was, you become destitute at 10 years old when you feel like you should be wearing a bra. Mm-hmm. And that's, as a male, that's a rough time. And, and then you get into 12, 13, 14. And when you start to overcome it and you start to understand how sports and exercise, as I got older in college, I learned that there was exercise, which was not sports, different thing. And then you start finding the magazines and you say, I can make, I'm only going to be a certain height, but the rest I can control. I can control proportions and, shoulders in relation to waist. And that was very empowering.
I think we're all, psychologically, we're all a product of how we grew up. The things good things that happened to us, bad things that happened to us. Sounds like your mom was the best, pretty big influence in your life. Like, what's the overall? She said, we were not victims here. What did you take into life? What are you teaching your kids that you learned from her?
I still bring her up. I still bring her up to my 5-year-old who barely knew her, but and probably won't have those memories. And I say, Grandma did this, Grandma Judy did this, Grandma Judy did this. And sometimes she'll say to me, Dad, I'm doing this because Grandma Judy would do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's the attitude, because my mom was a massive go-getter. My mom swam a mile the day she was admitted to the hospital. My mom summited Kilimanjaro at 70 years old. My mom biked the Great Wall of China. My mom biked solo from Washington, D.C. To Houston, Texas. Like, my mom was a beast. She did, because there's no I can't. There's no, that just wasn't in the vocabulary.
So I'm going to keep going back to this person out there that's out of shape and broke, because I think everything you're saying adds up to what I'm trying to get to is this transformational mind shift of what they need to do. And your mom was obviously a heavily influence.
Huge.
You've worked with some of the best out there. What's the common theme that you're seeing these people do? Like I know you said, and you told me this when my wife and I went and worked out for you, is that you had a very low cancellation rate. Like these people show up on time.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
We were just talking about it one day, and I keep everything on a program on the computer. Everybody's workout is like just to keep track, right? And one of the kids who was training with me had a bunch of cancellations that week. And he goes, wow, this brings my cancellations. Like, that's a lot for me. And he goes, nobody ever cancels on you. I go, yeah, they do some. And then I found that there's a graph. This is on QuickBooks. I'm not sponsored. I'm not. I knew I had to say it so anybody could understand it. But there's a graph you can pull up. And if you log the workouts as a workout and then you log the cancel ones to cancel, when you pull up the graph, it shows you the pie chart. And I had something like 8.2% cancellation. And he was shocked. He had like 19 something. And another kid we knew had 50% cancellation. And he was proud of it because he said, you get paid. I go, yeah, we all get paid for the cancellation. That's not the interesting part of the story. The part of the story is, why are they canceling or why are they not canceling? And then when I took the job with the Lakers, I didn't give up my real job or what became my second job, because the Laker job was my real job. I still kept training as many people as my schedule would allow. And then my cancellation, granted the numbers went down, but the cancellation dropped down to like 4%, which was insane. It's because I think I'm going to get into your world now. That's like the supply, demand, scarcity, right? And people just didn't cancel. But I think you create an environment that people want to go.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it about the type of person that you serve also? Like, in wealth management, I mean, usually the biggest clients are the best clients, and the smallest clients give you the biggest headaches.
I'll tell you, yes, I agree. And I have an analogy for that. Not an analogy, but I have something that substantiates that. I always found that, in movies they call it above title, right? Above title billing, somebody's name comes before the title of the project. I always found that the people above title were the easiest to deal with. And I don't know why that just worked out that way. And now being here in Nashville, I found that in country music as well. Mm. The ones I train that are the headliners, that are the ones who do stadiums, super easy. Here's my cell, text me, schedule. Sometimes they have an assistant schedule just because it's fitting in a master schedule. But when they're late, they text. When they're not going to make it, which is rare, they text. If they have a question, they text. The people who are just below title, in my experience, go through some kind of gatekeeper, person, guard, sentry, whatever the fuck it is. And you're like, why am I dealing with this person?
Yeah.
I just saw you in here. You were half dressed, almost puking. We shared anecdotes about our kids. And now I'm texting with somebody else to get a message to you? This is crazy. But I think my summation over the years is that those people act like that because they think that that's how the people above title act, and they want to come across as that. And I think I have no time for all those errors. Like, we don't need to put all that on.
Well, yeah,
just text me. Just text me, bro.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I think you got people just totally broken mindset. They're never paying for a trainer because there's no value in that whatsoever.
Fine.
Then you have the people that get
I'll
like
see you
that.
in 10 years.
That next level of success, to where I think you're talking about the below title people, but in their mind, they've already made it. And I think because of that, like their mindset, I made it, here's what I need to operate at. They never break through. And then you got those above title, in my world, the wealthiest people, where even like you, I mean, you're one of the best trainers in the world, if not the best, and you still are getting there early. Your weights are all lined up. It's the basics, and you still don't think you've reached the top. I mean, I think it's that mindset, right? These guys are still trying to prove something.
But watch, who's the comedian who passed away, Bill Hicks, borrowing from him, Segways for kids. Look at the segue on that. Like my conversation with the guy in Jersey, there's always someone who did it better. There's always someone who's done it bigger, right? So when I think my gym is not ready, it's not. There's a better gym somewhere. There's people who are teeing it up just that much better. That's amazing. It's like when you're young and you start to dabble in sexual stuff and your buddy goes, dude, I did this thing. It's amazing. Nobody's ever. I'm like, you didn't invent a position, bozo. People have been doing this for thousands of years. Now, whatever you came up with, whatever contorted thing, you didn't invent that. That's been done. So I feel like that in fitness, no matter what I come up with at my gym, certain movement patterns I think trainers do create, and like movements get named after them, right? Like a Cossack squat, an Arnold press. So that maybe, but whatever level you're providing, it's probably been done.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Henry Royce quote too. Rolls Royce,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When he said,
I don't know.
It is. I like that you just agreed. You're like, if you were a dog, you just rolled on your back. He said something like,
It was kind of a question. Yeah.
Yeah. When they started Rolls Royce, he said, we'll use the best of all components, and if it doesn't exist at that level, we will design it. And so that was his goal when he built Rolls Royces. And I'm butchering his quote, but it's something to that effect. And I have it written somewhere in the notes on my phone, because I think that's what you do. You have to shoot for the best. And if the way you're seeing the best is not there, then you have to find a way. If you can see it in your mind's eye, you have to find a way to bring that to life. You owe it to your profession. I owe it to the people I'm working with to bring that to life.
So how much of this was like young Gunnar, he's hungry, he's just getting into, how much did you already have of that from day one versus, okay, working with these people that are performing at the highest sports level, acting, whatever it is, how much came from that experience of doing that for several years?
That's a great question. The answer is probably that duck and weave combo platter of my parents. We traveled a lot growing up. My family moved to the Middle East, to Europe. My parents were in the Philippines for a minute, and then they were back in Europe, and then they were in South America, and they wound up in Tennessee, of all places. But throughout that, we traveled a ton, and we would see things at the highest level. Like we saw, depending on where you go in the world, at what time of year, you see boats the likes of which, right, unfathomable to a kid. Wait, that's one person's boat, right? You see houses, you see airplanes. When you're young, if you look through the Robb Report, you see, is that still around?
I don't know, but I used to read the Robb
Is that named
Report.
after you?
It's not. It's not. I do something that's a cheap off-take called the Robb's Report on Fridays. Yeah, it's good that you know that. ROBB, though, is the Robb Report.
But I'm saying, but in that you would see, I remember seeing that magazine in places and just thinking, that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. And my dad at one point said to me, he said, I've shown you what's out there. Go for what you want.
So they didn't limit you. You always believed you could, if you wanted those things.
But I used to say this. I said this once to this NBA kid that I trained, great kid. And I said to him, it was early in his career. I said, depending on how you play this in the off season, depending on the work you're willing to put in, I go, your family for generations to come can travel anywhere. They can fly coach, they can fly first, they can fly private. It's up to you, because there's no limit with your talent, with the physical that you're bringing to the game. You could literally control the whole thing. Just depends on how hard you want to work.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this: is just being good at your craft enough anymore? And kind of what I mean by that is, like, they say that abs aren't made in the gym; they're made in the kitchen. So for business today, is let's use in your world, being a personal trainer. Is it made being the best trainer out there, or is it made on Instagram?
Again, the dual answer, the double barrel. I think it's both. There's a great trainer in California. He's a good friend of mine, Ben Bruno, and his gym is called The Kitchen, and it's like off his house, and it's from that saying. I don't know. Instagram for me is a challenge. I do my best. I try hard. I try to come up with ideas. I think I don't want to just be a guy exercising on Instagram. I think that would bore me.
How many of those guys are full of shit? These trainers that are on.
Wow, there has to be a large number of them. There are so many that claim that they're. I take it back. Maybe none of them, depending on your definition of what a celebrity is. Because when they say celebrity trainer, I'm like, who? First of all, I don't like the term celebrity trainer. I think it's weird. I think it's unnatural, and I think it is only unto fitness. You don't have a celebrity lawyer. You're not a celebrity wealth management guy. You don't have a celebrity doctor. You're just a doctor, a lawyer, or a wealth management guy. Celebrity trainer is such a weird branding thing. And who cares? You worked with a celebrity. I mean, and who was a celebrity? We'll be the judge of that. But there's a lot of that out there. Anyway, go back to Ben Bruto. Abs in the Kitchen. Great guy, great trainer, the real deal. Great Instagram, clever, well done. Like, he covers so many bases. Sometimes I look at his Instagram and I go, fuck, I don't know. I didn't think of that. Like, he just said something that was essentially benign and middle of the road, but the way he did it was so great and so clever. And I don't think like that. I don't look, I also, not saying Ben does, I also don't look at life through an Instagram prism. I look at life as it's coming at me. I don't think, oh, I want to capture this moment. Let's redo that and let's get it on film. I don't think like that. I think let's do this.
You know, I think the holy grail, though, today, going back to this personal brand, everybody's trying to do that. I mean, if you look at a lot of people you've actually worked with, the Kardashians, Rock, they've built such a great personal brand, whether people like them or not. Who gives a shit about that? They've been able to take that personal brand and monetize it through clothes, monetize it through drinks, through consulting, wealth management, whatever they wanted to. And I think, you know, you might not say you're at that level yet, but however, you've been very successful creating a personal brand, and you've been able to adapt and pivot over the years. Instagram's just what it is today, right? It was newspaper ads, television years ago. And arguably, when we talk about Kris Jenner, maybe in our view, one of the best personal brand specialists in the world. What are some of the things that you of all time? Yeah, I mean, again, people could say what they want. The reality is, look at how she's done it just with her own family. What did you? If is there anything you learned from her in terms of your own personal brand?
First of all, I love Kris Jenner, and I've taken heat for that. Whatever, and anytime you say it in private, people go, "She's amazing." You're like, yeah,
Don't you love that?
But you wouldn't say that. I will say that. I will say Kris Jenner is amazing. She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing mom. I don't care what you think you know about her. I've seen her in action, early morning, late at night. Traveled with her. She is the real deal, and what she's been able to do from a branding standpoint, also. Like, the term momager was created for her, the mom manager thing. Like, she's handled.
And what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with giving your kid an opportunity. I think we talk about all today, like, opportunities going away. You got to give them a head start.
Sure. And how many people? So nobody frowns when a lawyer brings his son or daughter into his firm.
Exactly.
Nobody frowns when a baker grooms his son or daughter to go into the bakery family baking business. But all of a sudden with Kris Jenner, she gets her kids into that. Why is that bad? Well, I mean, I'm sure any of her kids could have developed any skill set they chose to. Why are we begrudging them this? They've added so much to the landscape. Love them or hate them. They add so much to the landscape. They enrich the landscape, whether it's the show, whether it's memes created by the haters. Those are still funny as hell.
It's still PR.
They're still funny as hell, those memes. I love them.
Yeah.
I'll send those memes to someone in the family. I think they're funny. And they've taken a lot of lemons and made lemonade. And if that bothers you, too bad. Don't watch. That's the other thing about social media. Don't watch. It's voluntary. Go, unfollow, mute it, or get off it entirely.
Where do you think the success of what are the things that you consciously do on a daily basis that you feel attribute to you having such a good? And also, I would say, what are the things everyone's looking at this, Gunnar? And look, at the end of the day, we could say what we want. They're looking at celebrities. Everybody wants to work with celebrities, right or wrong. What are the things that you were able to do to get in the door with these people, which is not easy, but then stay in the door for so long? And those are two different things.
Yeah. I told my son that when he got into college. I said, don't worry how you got in. You stayed in and you graduated with a solid GPA and president of your fraternity. Don't worry how you got in. You got in. So aren't letters of recommendation a form of swinging the pendulum? But that's not nepotism. If it's your buddy's wife that writes the letter about your son as though, but nobody frowns on that. That's just another form of vetting the person you're considering allowing in, right? So I think what I did, I'm not going to speak in the third person. I wouldn't do that to you. But if I look at it from a 10,000 foot view, what do I do? I provided a safe space. I keep it fun. I keep it pleasant, and I'm consistent. LA is a super transient city, right? One day it's a store, one day it's a restaurant, and things they change. That's just how it goes. I try to be the constant. The temperature of the room is the same. The level of the music is the same. The light is the same. Our energy is the same. The product we're delivering, whether it's the Zoas or the waters or the towels or whatever we're providing, is always the same. Our level of commitment to the real product that they've come to get, which is the workout itself, is the same. There's always going to be clean equipment, new equipment. The place is something that they can rely on consciously or subconsciously, and they know when they go to work out, it's not, oh, I hope I don't see that person. Oh, I hope that. You know what you're going to get. And in a place like LA, over time, that becomes something that's coveted.
And you provide free
and I had
good parking, right?
And I have,
explain that. I mean, people are like free parking, yeah, well, but I mean, there's a lot behind that.
There is, and I said it. I think the first time I said it, I was kind of goofing, but not. I have great parking. Wow, you're being humble. I'm not being humble. Try how many times. I'm sure you spend enough time in LA. I can't tell you how many times I pull up to go somewhere. There's no parking. And I mean none, like not within 4 blocks, structure's full, nothing on the street, no valet. You just go, I'm out of here. I'll go get it another time, another place, and you just keep driving. And I come back and my wife said, did you do? I didn't, babe. I didn't, the parking. Yeah. And it just is a thing. My gym had off-street, right? So in theory, paparazzi or anybody can't follow you in. Well, that doesn't apply to everybody. Yeah, I know. But it's off-street parking, which means it's covered on the few days that it does rain. And it means that it's safe. And it means that it's protected. And it means that it's convenient. Those are big draws in a busy city where you're driving to a place and it's a timed event, right? The start to the finish of the workout. And if you get there within 5 minutes of it, and then you're looking around for 12 minutes, you've just cannibalized 7 minutes of your workout.
Well, I mean, I think for other entrepreneurs over there, that comes to having a deep understanding of who your client is. And I don't care you said paparazzi, but if you're a wealthy person, time is your most valuable asset. So if you're just circling around for an hour, they're going to be gone.
Take paparazzi out of the equation because that's not relatable. So how about this? Somebody bothering you, somebody stopping you for money. How about if you're somebody who feels like you might be a victim or at risk of somebody, you're in an area that's a little iffy, which now, honestly, from some of the things I've seen on the news, could be anywhere. You're worried about somebody approaching your car. You're worried about somebody jacking you. You're worried about whatever it is you're worried about. The off-street parking reduces that risk, right, in a big way. So forget paparazzi. Say someone bothering you. Mm-hmm. You pull in off-street. It's already easier than other gym offerings.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of what you're saying is how you stayed there so long, and you continue to have the humility that, hey, I'm serving these people, they're hiring me, these are the ones that are paying the bills. Even though you've had success and you've been next to every A-list celebrity out there, you're still there to work for them. And I'm assuming if you don't have that attitude about somebody, you're not going to work with them. And I'm sure there's people you don't work with.
Yeah, but not. It's okay. So go back. I would say when I started, look at that body language. He crossed his legs, he folded his arms. I'm resisting. I know the body language. I'm just stretching my hamstrings, locking up. I would say in the beginning, you take all comers, right? Yeah. And I think in most businesses you would do that.
Same, yep.
Right? I'm coming to you with $40 and I'm going, Rob, manage my money. Here's my nest egg. But then down the line, you realize that that's not the best fit for you. So I would say in the beginning, the people that I wouldn't say I enjoyed the most, but I took on as a personal challenge were the ones who demonstrably did not love exercise and that I caught the most headwind from, that they just didn't, I don't know if this for me. And I would go out of my way to make them fall in love with the training itself, fall in love with spending time with me. So I'd make it as fun, pleasant, upbeat as any workout can be. And I wanted to sort of like groom them to be into that. Now I don't do that as much. Now if I feel the pushback, I think, it's probably not for me. And I don't turn anybody down. Like I'll say, I have a couple of the trainers. I have a great guy at my gym. I think you met him, Colin Shane, Adam Dirks. And I would say I have two great guys. One's a bodybuilder, also power lifter to a degree, and the other one is a strongman. And strongman, different power lifter, different guys, different personalities, and it has to fit. I just know, and it's a sense you develop as you get older, this is not going to work. I would assume, I'm going to go way out on a limb. I would assume a lot of women develop that sense early on in their dating life. Mm. And they know within a very short time of the first date or the second date, this is not the guy for me. And then the ones who keep it going, right, they're masochistic. I don't know why they're going to do that. But you get to a point where you go, I'm not going to spend this much time on this. This is a bad investment. And you don't do it. For me, the people where I catch the pushback, I go, it's a bad investment. This is not going to be good. I won't enjoy this, and therefore they won't, because I'm not an actor and I don't know how to put on that. Hey, no, I really do like you. I just can't do that. So I'll send it over to somebody else, and then those guys also, they're younger and they should be honing their skills of bringing people into the fold and keeping them there. I don't try to do that anymore, but I did that early on. That was a big part of sharpening my skill set.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when I got into wealth management, it was, you got 50 grand, I'm going to work with you.
I got you.
Yeah, I got you. And those are like I said, going back to the big accounts, once you get your first $1 million, $2 million account, they're never calling you. The stock market drops 2%. The guy with 50 grand screaming at you, like, what the hell happened? And so you learn over time, like, it's not just about how much money someone has, because I've seen it on both ends, but you learn after time from putting in the reps in your business, like, okay, is this going to work out? And a lot of it becomes intuition, I think. Yeah,
it's wisdom that's cured over the ages, right? And you just go, I can tell you in 10 minutes on a phone call. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I don't do it, and then I see them and I go, I probably could have made that work. Or sometimes I see them and I go, oh, so glad we both dodged a bullet. It's not just about me.
But if it comes down to it, are you going to trust your gut most of the time?
Now, yes.
Yeah.
Early on, I told that inner voice to shut up.
Yeah.
And I pushed right through it.
Well, and you said, like, sometimes you're wrong. And I use it in the world of investment, because when I make investments, I'll do things with my own money I would never do with other people's money, because to me, that's
training.
My reputation, right?
Same with my training.
Right? Because the way I got it...
Because it's my hamstring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first way I started working with wealthy people, NFL players, first guy signed a $62 million contract. Super excited to get in front of him. He wound up becoming a client. But I got really not excited after 10 minutes of Googling that 78% of NFL players go bankrupt within leaving the league. And I'm like, oh, shit, this guy's going to come in. My name is going to be associated with it, and it's all going to go to shit. But back to what I was saying is, in terms of intuition, if I look at something and I'm doing an analysis of it and I can't see where the risk is, I don't do it. And that might not make sense, but there's risk in everything. And if I can't identify where it's at, I'm not going to do it.
Right, because then you're going to get blindsided by it.
Oh, and more importantly than my own money, I could lose all my money. I'll make money the next day and go on. But if I lose someone else's money, I can't live with that.
Well, yeah, and then they're coming for you.
Well, yeah, and it's just. I think when you do, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, which you and I both are, like, at the end of the day, is it always going to work out? Are you always going to be able to show, hey, you're going to go from 300 pounds to 200 pounds? But people say business isn't personal. I think that's bullshit. Like, I put everything I can. It's a personal commitment if I'm going to work with somebody to do the best job to make them change. And I don't think if you don't feel like that, you're not going to be successful. And I feel like you do the same things. When we went and worked out with you, dude, you had everything set up. You took the time.
I do that with everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah. And you told me, you said, look, if you ever go to a trainer and they're looking around the room at what the next piece of equipment to take you to, run the hell out of there.
Yeah, because then they're making it up as they go. You could do that by yourself. Like, you don't need that person to do that. You don't need to pay for that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying a trainer can't wing it. And I do sometimes. I had one this morning where there was like a glitch. I go, I know what I'm doing with the guy. And I saw the progression of what I had programmed. And I saw where he was on fatigue and form and things starting to come apart. And I thought, if I do that next, that's going to end bad. So I just pivoted and did something different that was nearby, so it still had the same flow. And I don't have to disclose that to him. And by the way, he doesn't care. He just wants to feel the way he wants to feel. And because I'm seasoned enough at it, it was seamless. It was bang, 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 and we moved right on. But I also know where every single thing in my gym is. And I tell the other trainers, in your downtime, you should be walking around. You should know where every attachment, every band, if you ever have to come over here to get a band to go over there, you haven't looked because there are bands over there. You have to know that, and you should move, right? You should be those expert chefs in the hibachi restaurant throwing the knives and cutting the egg. You have to execute at that level like those guys. And it should look, and if the egg lands and they missed it, you go and you show that you did that on purpose. Like, you have to be able to do it because that instills in the client a confidence, and that's what they really came there for. They are not as confident in their ability to put a workout together that will get them to their end goal as they are in your ability to do that. That's why they engage you in the first place. Anybody can work out. Anybody over the age of 10 has seen enough exercise. My son is 9. He's seen enough exercise videos. He would know push-ups, squats, crunches, whatever, to do it and then just to put it on repeat. That doesn't mean that's the best workout for him. But anybody could do that. What you're hiring someone like me for is to streamline it and make it more efficient to get you to your end goal. Right? Like you said, anybody can make money, but can they make as much as fast? Can they compound it the way you propose to them that you can for them?
Let me ask you a question about business. Higher price, fewer people, or lower price, more people?
Somewhere in the middle, again, because you can price yourself right out of the market. I've read things. I've had people send me stuff that says, it costs this much to trade with you. I said, I have no idea where they got that number. That's completely made up. I've never charged that in my life. But it's out there. Somebody said it at some point. Mm-hmm. In LA, we were told that we were not. I know trainers who were way more expensive than we were, way more. And my other trainer, great guy, Brad Siskin, who has a gym still in Beverly Hills, Brad sometimes would push and say, we should raise our prices. I go, we can't. We are at the top of my comfort zone, and I can tell you we are at the top of the comfort zone of the people who come on a regular basis. As a one-off, you can charge more, but that's going to end bad. Mm-hmm. You have to be at a number that people can digest and not second guess all the time. And if you try to gouge, that's going to backfire. But at the same time, you're trying to keep the gym running at a certain level, which has a cost. You have certain overhead. Our rent was prohibitive there, part of the reason we left. Your equipment costs, your cleaning costs, your towel costs, your blah, blah. I could go down the list. But you have to cover that, and you have to make a living, right? Again, no private islands, no helicopters as a rule. Not saying Jake Steinfeld didn't do that, Jillian Michaels, Tracy Anderson, some of the greats, Jane Fonda, I mean, sure. But that's not for every trainer, and nor should it be. So you have to keep a price point. I said to him once, I go, Brad, if most of the people we deal with in LA, it goes through a business manager and they don't pay us in the gym and you send a bill and you get a check. I said, if they're money people see the bill from the trainer and it's higher than what they pay their legal team or their alimony, the business, the bookkeeper, the business manager is going to say to them, hey, by the way, just so you know, I was doing this month's bills, and your trainer is really. They're going to start thinking it. Very few are the ones that are going to go, it doesn't matter what it costs, it's worth it. So you can't be at a number that's gross, frankly.
You know, I mean, one of the things right now, though, is this idea, why are people building personal brands? I would say because any business model where you trade your time for money is very, very difficult, because you've only got 24 hours in a day. There's not 25, 7 days in a week. There's not 8. So there's not a glass ceiling. There's a big hard metal ceiling that you're going to hit.
Yeah.
And so you have to figure out ways, if you're going to get to that next level of wealth, which everyone wants to do. And this isn't just training. It's a financial advisor. It's an accountant. It's an attorney, that you're going to have to be able to monetize things outside of just your own time. How have you been able to do that?
You create brand alliances. You do presentations, but you really don't, as a rule, get paid, or not much, for the presentations. And what you hope is that something comes of that someone who sees the presentation sees you in another capacity. Like, maybe you can present to this group that we do pay for, and maybe we can bring you to this event where you do whatever it is. That sounds weird in today's.
There's limits.
You do whatever it is that they're looking for, meaning they take you on, they take you to a destination, and you do X number of group workouts. I did a lot of those when I was in LA, whether it's going to a Super Bowl for a corporation and they have all of their top buyers there. They'd have us go out to Palm Springs and do one. They'd have us go on a retreat for the executives of a network, and you're doing a workout in the morning before they go on a hike, and they'll pay you for that. And so you can make little lumps that way.
You got an app now also, don't you?
We have an app. You have Common Ground, the app.
Talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a great idea of an example of how can you scale your brand without having to be the person there wiping up the sweat, right?
Yeah, which I still don't mind doing, by the way. I think the minute you start...
And that's proverbial. That's every business.
No,
We're all
I know.
wiping up sweat.
It is, I know. But the minute I've had some people go, oh my God, you have such a luxury. And I go, I wipe up the sweat of 20-year-old athletes. Tell me again where the glory is in that. I don't mind it, but don't act like my day is just kicking back doing podcasts with Rob Luna. So your question, how do you get those gigs? How do you?
No, I was saying, as a personal brand, you've got to find ways to be able to monetize it outside. So you're using this app now.
Oh, sorry. So the app, yeah. The app was cool how it came about. People, you gotta have an app. My wife did one before, dabbled in it. The people, they did a good job, but I don't think we honed in on it enough. We were moving. It just wasn't, probably a timing issue. We did it here with a company called Plank. Love
Shout
them.
out to Plank. Hopefully they're paying you.
Shout out to Plank. They're I've loved Matthew Van Arsdale over there as a boss, and they do great work. And what I said I wanted it to do, I wanted it to capture the feeling of what we do in the gym. So I'm the trainer. I don't think you need the trainer always doing the exercises. I've done 30 years of that. I wanted to be the trainer in it, and I had a couple of different models, but because I know him, my favorite, no disrespect to the others, is Colin, and he's a bodybuilder, and
Yeah, we met him.
and he's also an athlete, right? He moves well.
Yeah, you told me to train with him, and me and my wife, and I said, "Are you crazy?"
No, he's great. He's
I don't need a bodybuilder around my wife.
He's great. But so to me, it's not just what happens in the set; it's what happens intra-set, right? Interstitially, that's the glue, and that's hard to teach, and that's also hard to convey on camera. But we had to be able to joke. I had to be able to give little one-liners. It's the stuff it's the levity, and I've said this 1,000 times. It's the levity that keeps the workouts fresh and fun and keeps people coming back. Because it is drudgery. Holy shit, doing this 30 times, that's drudgery, man. And who's coming back? Hey, come back Wednesday. We're going to do this again. They're not coming back. But
They can't lift their arms
yeah,
up.
we'll do the other side. But because you're creating a flow, and really as a trainer, you're setting a pace, right? And you're challenging them. I tell, like when I was just in New Jersey with my guy, I said, and he laughs at it. He said every time he did a set, I'd go, take a sec. When you're done, we're right here when you're ready. And he said inside, he took that as let's fucking go. Mm-hmm. Sure, subliminally it was let's fucking go. But I was saying, take your time. No rush when you're ready. But he knew that I wanted him to go. But I set the pace that way by not saying let's go, let's go, let's go. It's like if your wife is late, or for those of you who need it the other way, if your husband's late, which come on. But when your wife's late, you're like, babe, can we go? Babe, we got to go. Babe, hurry up. Honey, what are we doing? We should be in the car by now. That's only slow in the process. If you say, hey, I'll be outside whenever you're ready, babe, no hurry. Guarantee you she's coming out in less time than if you had kept pushing her. And she's coming out with a better attitude.
Wish my wife wasn't here to hear that.
Uh-huh. Anyway, so with him, I did that. And he said that pushed him to go at a faster pace. Great. Then I just won that. But ultimately, he won that because he's getting more out of the workout.
And I'll argue probably because he's an A-type personality. And that comes back to having the right clients, too, because they're going to pick up on that, where some dipshit might just be sitting there staring at the wall saying, okay, I'll take the break.
Yeah, that's true, too. I'm also not the guy who goes, come on, you got this. You can do this. That's not me.
Yeah.
Or, come on, let's get all the way down. I go, what is it, half rep Tuesday? Like, I say that because then I know your next rep is this.
Yeah.
It's not this.
Half rep Tuesday.
But I'll mess with you. But I'm trying to keep the levity in there so we all realize, look, at the end of the day, you're working out. It's like me coaching you through your shower. Come on, dude. Scrub your scalp. Like, that's not going to get you better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, so you're creating the app around exactly what you're doing in the gym. So it's consistent.
But yes, the exercises, and yes, the workout. The app for sure covers those. That's the nucleus of it. But more importantly, in my mind, is the vibe. That's such a crazy word. It's not. That's what keeps the workouts going. Mm-hmm. So I goof around with Colin in it, little one-liners, and you know, I had a kid once, this trainer once, and I said to him, he was in my gym training. He was there for a number of years, didn't work out for a lot of reasons, none of which were my fault.
Of course.
Disclaimer. And he was very resistant to using any of the new equipment I bought or I had brought in. He just resisted it. And he stuck to dumbbells, barbells, which, by the way, any trainer worth their salt can put together a workout with 2 cinder blocks and a broomstick. Like, big deal. Having the stuff is just more fun. It's more engaging, right? Like, I could also walk home today. Mm-hmm. It's less efficient and less fun than driving. And so this kid resisted using stuff. And I could see his clients, I don't want to say they were pining, but I could see them looking over.
They're getting bored probably.
But they're seeing me with my person. We're having a laugh. We're getting the set done. We're going on to the next set. We're using a new piece of equipment. Then we're back to this. And there's a flow to the whole thing. And I said to him, hey, man, he used to do these dynamic warm-ups too, which are valuable, no question. But they took like 15 minutes up. I go, 25% of that person's hour was cannibalized during their warm-up. And meanwhile, they're looking at my person who 15 minutes in, they're half done. So then they're seeing this and they want to engage in this. I go, you're boring them into quitting. That's what's happening. And he turned and he snapped at me and he goes, not everybody's a stand-up comedian like you. I go, whoa. First of all, not everybody is. But everybody can take a class, and you can take a class in stand-up comedy. You can take a class in improv. You can take an acting class. You can talk to shrinks. There are a lot of ways to hone your personal brand, back to your original question, of who you become, and find a way to communicate that's pleasant. Find a way to do it. Find your inner voice and weave that into your training. For you to just paraphrase some coach or some trainer, first of all, it's inauthentic. Second of all, anybody with half a brain will spot that it's inauthentic. You're not a good enough actor to maintain that new persona that you've created. That's not you, right? I worked with Sylvester Stallone for many, many years. One of the most unbelievable people I've ever met, far and away I'm trying to think before I step out there, maybe the most entertaining person all around that I've ever met. He doesn't talk like Rocky, and he's not that guy. That's a character.
Adrian.
Yeah, he's not doing. So that's a character. You as a trainer, I don't think, in my opinion, most can't create this trainer character, which becomes a caricature that you're not.
It's exhausting too.
It's
right?
exhausting. You'll break. You'll crack. I'll see through it. Right? You can't keep doing the British accent all day, dude. You're from Fort Worth.
Some politicians are pretty good at that.
You know what I mean? And then you just go, so find who you are. Take an improv. When that kid snapped back at me and said that, I just thought, you've never taken an improv class. Because you could be a stand-up comedian. I'm not saying it could be a great one, but you can learn setup, punch, segue, callback. There are certain things that work in your speech that make you fun to be around. And it doesn't have to be an act. When you just learn to listen, it helps you speak better. But if you're not listening, you're fucked. If you're just on a monologue, it's over before you even know it.
Yeah, I think that's so important today, whether it's social media, any business, the authenticity part. I think people see right through the bullshit these days. I think it used to be get on there with the Ferrari or whatever it is when Instagram first came out, but you can see those jackasses now. It's not working anymore. No matter what it is you do, if you're a cat expert or whatever it is, if you're not authentic about it, I think people see through that shit, to be honest with you.
I don't follow any cat experts.
I'm allergic to cats, but I don't know, I had to come up with something. But I think authenticity is super important. I think that's part of you. Look, you're a pretty rash guy, but I think that's just you. What you see is what you get, and I think that's what people want.
Right from the hip, baby.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. It's also...
Did I say rash guy or brash guy?
You said rash. I knew you meant rash. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Dropped your B's.
Yeah, brash. Cut that.
But also, it's that old thing, and I don't know who said it, like, if you don't tell lies, if you're not inauthentic, you don't have to remember anything.
Right.
You just be straight with it. I don't have to remember anything I said to you.
Much easier, right?
Yeah. I don't have to remember anything I said to you. I used to know a dude who, he was a trainer too for a while. He might still be. I lost touch with him. I don't know where he is. But he used to just spin these yarns with girls in our single days. And I would listen. I was like, why are you saying you're from Australia?
What occupation are you today?
Like, dude, you're from like San Fernando Valley. And you're telling this girl you're from Brisbane. Like, what?
Did he have the accent and everything?
He would do it. And I can't speak to how good it was or wasn't, but it was exhausting. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And if you're in a job like mine, which is a lot of hours, and again, let's say you train 10 people a day, and you're never farther away than this from them, and usually closer for 10 hours, keeping that up, that's exhausting.
I mean, doesn't that stem from insecurity, though? Like just not feeling confident?
Some of it comes from, in my opinion, what do they say? There's some high percentage of superiority complexes that are born from inferiority complexes, right? So it's an overcompensation. I think a lot of it comes from that. They think they found the hook. The hook is to be this guy. You're like, but you're not that guy. What are you doing? I had a friend who was a trainer. This is way back. And this is when you did phoners with the magazines, right? And I connected him with one because they go, do you know any other trainers that we could talk to? I go, you do. You should talk to this kid. And he was from North Carolina. He was not straight. He was super over the top and super flamboyant and super funny, sharp, quick-witted. And I connected him. He did the interview, and I stepped into the room at one point. I don't know if I was checking and I stuck my head in, and he was talking the way I talk. And I listened for a minute, and I go, what are you doing? And he goes, shh, I'm talking like you. And I go, but you're not me. He goes, yeah, but it's funny. I go, but you're not me. So it's not funny. It's inauthentic. And it's going to come across terrible in print. And he goes, I got it. And I just thought, you can't, even if you do blow enough smoke that it works, you can't do that consistently. And then the more you put yourself out there, the less connected the whole thing is. And then it's just murky water.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I think unless you're a sociopath, I think you've got to be able to sell yourself first. Like I think the hardest thing is selling yourself.
I love the disclaimer. Unless, of course, you're a sociopath, in which case, proceed.
Yeah, I mean, but if you can't sell yourself, right? That's why I said like the first 10 years as a financial advisor, I was dog shit, right? Like, I had to make so many mistakes. I had zero confidence. But it's then like, okay, now I got this and I'm pretty good at it because I put in the reps, I got the degrees, I did all this shit. And it was like, okay, here's who I am. The cover's back. And it's like, I think at that point in my career is when it really started to take off.
So I can't speak because it's your career, so I can't counter you. But for that to be someone's roadmap, I would say flag on the play in that you're not selling it. Mm-hmm. I'm not selling fitness to anyone. You're giving energy and an experience. If I have to sell it to you, I've already lost. I've already changed the dynamic. I've already given you the power. Wink, wink. We both know who has the power. You, because you're the consumer. You're the customer. You're the right. Customer's always right. You already own me and this situation. If I'm selling it to you, I've acquiesced. That's a fucking mistake. I'm not selling you shit. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. Same thing on Instagram. I have this one guy who wrote me on, because whenever I post exercise, I put it to this same thing. It's called the banjo beat. I just think it's a funny beat. And Ben Bruno referenced to Ben. This whole podcast is about you. Yeah. Well, Ben once said to me, he said it in a comment, he said, anytime I hear this music, it gets me fired up to work out, which is hysterical because I kind of like that and I kind of do it for that. But it's also because to me, it comes back to it's one of the few things you can count on. If you see me exercising on a video, it's got this music to it. Mm-hmm. And I had this guy, this account, and he wrote a number of times, I hate this fucking song, change this song, you're a fucking loser. And I just thought, for whatever reason, I've really gotten under this guy's skin.
Its song was pissed.
But I already own you. I already own you because you're still following me, bro. And you're still pissed about my music. Turn the sound off, scroll past, mute me, unfollow me. But you know me, I have you now. Why are you still watching me if you hate it so much? Just to comment that you hate it? You have a lot of free time. So to me, don't give that to them. Don't sell that to them. I'm not selling exercise to you. If you want to come and have a great experience and you want to benefit from the energy that is free-flowing in our gym, man, come on, you are going to love it. But if that's not you and you don't think it matches up, that's fine. There are 8 billion people here. We're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's clear why, go back to this thing, okay, you work with these type of clients that everybody wants to work with. Everything you're talking about, I think, is the mindset of understanding what the expectations are, how to stay in the door. Let me just ask you kind of one other thing about that. How did you get that first? I told you, like, I just got this first NFL player kind of helped me out. That's how I got in the door and stayed there. But what was your first opportunity to work with what everyone would call a celebrity or A-list type of client?
Celebrity, but I don't know that gets you something else. I think some people think that, I think sometimes trainers up and coming, especially in those big city markets who are targeting celebrities, or I just saw a trainer today. Someone said, do you know this guy? And he said he's a celebrity trainer who also trains. That's
on his profile, probably. So.
It is, because they sent me his thing. And he also works with UHN.
Oh, ultra high net worth.
I was like, what is that? Is that like herpes? What? I didn't even know what that was. And I said to my buddy, what is you? And he goes, ultra high net worth individual. I go, who writes that? Who says that's who I work with? And why? Because you work with them, is that more impressive than you work with doctors or lawyers or soccer dads? Or see how I did that?
I would say, I think because we value that more as a society.
He said, because, so the guy who wrote me this said, because if they have that much money, they can arguably afford the best, which means he's the best. I go, quantum leap, dude. I disagree. Means that's who they know. He might suck, but he's had 3 or 4 of those people, and within their circle, they say he's great. Okay, but to be determined. To be determined. Just because you work with those people doesn't make you great, me included. working with people who continue to come back consistently, and you constantly trying to hone your skill and always improve 1%, that makes you great.
How did you get in the door the first time with what people?
I knew a girl who was an assistant to an actor, and she was getting ready for a movie. And the girl called me and said, hey, her name was Kelly McGillis. I don't know if you know her, but I love her. And they said, hey, Kelly's getting ready for a movie. She needs a trainer. Any chance you could work with her? Could you come meet her? They said, could you come meet her? So I went to wherever she was staying in Brentwood at one point. I sat and talked with her for a while, and she started coming to the gym. But that didn't mean that Kelly then just called all of her actor, high net worth, high profile people.
UHNWIs.
What? Yeah, I gotta memorize that acronym, and say, hey, you got to go to see Gunnar. That's not how it happened at all. That's just how it was. But I think if you're first of all, I think if you're targeting at a group, that's a little weird. That's bordering on stalker. But if that's your course of action, I'm not going to judge you. If you're targeting a certain demographic, you have to look at who that demographic trusts, who's in their inner circle. And if you know them, and I think if I say befriend them, it sounds super calculated and again, creepy, bordering on stalker. But if you develop natural relationships with those people, they have the ear of the person that ultimately you would like to work with.
Yeah, and I think the reason I'm asking this, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this, and right or wrong, they want these high-profile clients because, like you said, the perception is, oh, they've worked with this person, they're the greatest. I could tell you, someone who's been on financial TV for 17 years. There's a lot of piece of shit advisors that are on financial TV, but the perception is, okay, because they've done that, they're better. But I think that doesn't last, because once you get behind the screen, if it doesn't work, it's not going to work. But I think when you got in there, what I always tell people always ask me, well, how do you get those type of clients? You got to kind of wait for the invitation, right? You don't just barged in.
I'm stepping ahead of you.
Okay.
I don't think you wait for the invitation, but I'm saying I don't think that's really the question they're asking. I think they're asking, how do you get the invitation? How do you keep them once you have them? Mm-hmm. I think the way to do that is the way you should live your life, which is be a decent person, be trustworthy. You'll be vetted by someone at some point. Those people, you ultra high, you Asian.
Your unwies, we'll call them unwies.
Yeah, those people and celebrities as well. Remember, there is a part of them, consciously or subconsciously, that is guarded because the nicest thing to say is somebody's always selling them something, but I would say it's grosser than that. Someone's always coming at them for something, always wanting something. And whether it's their time, their money, their endorsement, so they are a little apprehensive, and rightfully so. They should be. They're in a place where, again, everything is
for sure,
right. So if you're someone who someone in their circle says is safe, is trustworthy, I don't ask for pictures. I don't ask for pictures with celebrities. Hey, you're mine. Who does that? And I see some trainers who post with their celebrity clients, and I know some trainers who post with celebrities that they've trained once or twice.
Yeah, that's a big trick on Instagram.
I
think.
How do you do
or they're
that?
at some fitness car and they make it look like they were training the person even worse.
Like you mentioned, Dwayne Johnson. I've never trained Dwayne. He's been in my gym. He's one of the most generous, giving, kind, compassionate people I think is out there. Period. Add to that, plus in Hollywood. But he has a trainer. He has his people. He said, that's not me. I just know him, and he was, I'll say kind enough, but I think he did it benefits both of us. He did a couple of very funny posts from my gym. So people make that connection, but I don't want to ever take away. He has a guy, Dave Ramsey, and those guys do great work together, and I would never steal anybody's thunder. And I also think a lot of trainers need to learn that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
But I think you become vetted and you become trustworthy. It comes down to that. Are you trustworthy? Are you a nice guy? Or do enough people say, hey, you should work out with him. It's a very cool spot over there. Because hearing it's a very cool spot means nobody's going to take pictures. Nobody asks for autographs. Nobody's going to be overly watching them. What's he doing? Look at him. Oh my God, I didn't know he was that tall. I didn't know he was that fat. Like, it's not, if you're, and that's a lot. I had an actor years ago who trained with me. And he goes, you know what I like about here? He goes, no cameras. He goes, there's nobody on an elliptical pretending to be on their phone while they're really filming you. And I go, is that a thing? He goes, oh, yeah. And I thought, holy shit, I'm not even tuned in. Now I am. But you do see that a lot. At the people film openly like this. It's that's it.
So note to everybody there out there, that's one of the quickest ways to lose those relationships and kind of bar yourself from.
I would imagine. I don't know, because we don't do it. I don't. If ever anybody's seen somebody working out in my gym that was videoed, it's because the person said, let's video it, or because I said to them, that's terrific. The way you did that was super athletic, or holy shit, you look really lean. And I'll take their phone and video it with their phone. I never put it on my phone. And then I go, I'll just do it on my phone and I'll send it to you. No, then you're trying to do it for yourself. Never. And I never post anything. I will repost. If they post, I repost, because I think in my little Instagram legal mind, that's fair game. But I would never post it without their posting it first. I just think that's off limits. But those are also rules I made up in my head. It doesn't mean that's the real world. The real world is probably...
Wait, this is the shit you're not going to learn in school. That's why I'm doing this podcast, right?
Yeah, but
what's the real story? Like, how do you work
But
with
I
these
would
people? What's
imagine it's
important?
way more Wild Wild West than that.
Yeah.
Post what you want, right? It's the old Texas proverb of easier to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Yeah.
I think it's I think a lot of people do a lot of that. I think at the end of the day, they think, they're celebrities. They don't mind. They like being seen. Yeah, maybe, but I won't ask them.
Well, like you said, it's this balance of their guards up already.
Sure it is.
They've already been screwed, most of them,
Sure
and they're
it is.
questioning probably more than the average person. What is this person trying to get from me to get to that next level?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing you're doing is a selfie with them and posting on your IG. Probably not great.
I have a woman who I used to work with. Introduced her to her husband. He's going through some stuff, and I know there are pictures of us out there. I don't have them. And I wrote her and I said, hey, do you have those pictures? When I tell you she sent them to me in less than an hour, I know for sure she was quick to send them because she knew I wasn't going to post them. I sent them I really wanted to show my wife, look at back when. Yeah.
There wasn't even mention of don't post these, probably because there was that trust there. Well, and we were talking before we started this about NDAs, that you don't sign NDAs.
It's not that I don't. I never have. Because if somebody says to me, you sign an NDA, it's like we're entering into this with you not trusting me. No, it's not. It's like a prenup. No, it's not. It's not like a prenup. you already don't trust me. No, what I'll say is no problem. Will you sign one too? And I'm sure at some point I'll end up signing one, but you will too.
Right.
I just think I'm not going to, I don't think I've dropped names on here. How about you drop more with your football players than I have?
I said football player. I didn't say his name.
Yeah, but I think I only said Sylvester Stallone. The whole world knows I worked with the whole world knows I worked with him, and that I love the guy. And then my daughter got sick last year. Sylvester Stallone sent me. So what we did, our daughter got sick. She got cancer. Hey, look at that. Your podcast took a turn. You didn't control that. You're not at the helm here, buddy. And I said to my wife, we have to do something. We have to do something positive. We have to find a way. Let's take this and spin it. Fuck sitting here and just feeling bad for her and for us. Let's do something. So I asked the people who do our app, is there a way to create like a month free content? I'll design the workouts. I'll film them, everything, and not make any money. Nobody pay us. But if they see value in it, donate to a charity that we'll connect. We'll provide the links for children's cancer. And they came back and they go, yeah, we can do it. They'll still have to subscribe initially to it, but they won't have to pay. I said, absolutely not. It can't ever look like a money grab. We can't ever profit $1 off this, or first of all, we'll go straight to hell. That's number one. Second of all, people will bury you for that. I can't. They go, well, we don't have a way technologically to do that. And I said, okay, if you can, that'd be great. A week later, they called us and said, hey, we found a way to do it. They can enter through this, donate here if they want, access the workouts here, and they don't have to pay a thing. And I said, and everything they donate goes right to the charity. I don't want it to go through us, and then after administrative charges, nothing. So we saw nothing. It went right to the charity, and we did it. So I said, I'm going to call on people that I know to see if they will make a recommendation for people to join the app, not join the app, for people to go on the app and get the workouts. And if they see value, or if they're in the mood, I don't mean do the workouts. I hope you do the workouts because that's me. But if you don't and you want to make a donation to a charity, here's an easy way to do it. When I tell you every one of those people wrote back within an hour, and I mean top people, but I was speaking to Sylvester Stallone. He did. And you think of a guy who has a wife, children, a show, a 50-year tenure as a top celebrity. So he's pulled in however many thousands of directions every single day. And he stopped and he put his phone on his desk and he spoke to camera and he did the most glowing endorsement, first of all, of me, but then he spoke about what we're doing for our daughter and this, and I'm like, that's why those people are, that's why they are who they are.
I mean, you're talking about your daughter, and obviously I know the story, and we've talked about it, and as a parent, I just couldn't imagine anything worse that you guys are going through that. But the mentality, the attitude that you have, like, how do you, like you said, you don't know where these podcasts are going to go, but I got to ask, like, how do you, my wife and I were talking about that. How do you, first of all, it's necessary, but how do you do that?
You just do. There's no, what's that saying? The older one is failure's not an option, but the other one is plan B is don't fuck up plan A. There's no plan B. The plan A is we're making this work and she's getting through this. And we sat with one doctor who said to my look at this nervous tick, he's watching this, the guy's fucking nervous. We sat with one doctor and they were all great. The people at Vanderbilt were just unbelievable. Deb Friedman, who heads up oncology, to be honest, with all the doctors that we dealt with, my wife became very close because my wife lived with our daughter in the hospital. But we dealt with some others on the outside. We were lucky enough to have a lot of people to reach out to. But we sat with one doctor in particular who looked at everything after our daughter had a bone marrow transplant that didn't take, which is a rough go, right? After chemo, after all that. And he looked at it all, and my wife and I were sitting there. My wife had this notebook because she kept records of everything, everybody who came in the room, everything that was administered to our daughter, everything she ate. Like, she kept detailed records so that when we found another potential solution or another potential path to something that could help, she could give them the whole rundown with no missing chapters. And this one doctor, my wife's sitting with this huge notebook, and I'm next to her, and the guy said, I don't know what to tell you. He said, you're in uncharted waters here. There's nothing. I don't know. There's no data for where you are. And my wife listened, and I was like side-eyeing, like, holy shit, is she gonna crack? Is she gonna break? And my wife looked, and she was super polite and super composed, and she stood up and she said, thank you so much for all of this. We're gonna go make some data now. And we walked out of the room, and I was like, you're a fucking boss. I mean, it was unbelievable. And we went back, and she had another bone marrow transplant, and it took, and my wife championed this from beginning to end. And it was, I don't know, I would watch my wife grow. I would argue that we learned more from our daughter than our daughter learned from us, but we did instill things in her like, there's no quit. You're not tired. You were pushing through. You never lose. We always win. We did this thing in our house, never late, never cancel, never quit. And I think my daughter took that and just ran with it. And she's like, and now she'll tell you, I kicked cancer's ass. And she's in remission now, has some gut issues still that my wife, again, is reaching through, because you max out at certain places have their strengths and then the things that they're not as well versed in. So my wife found some holistic channels, and she's taking stuff to fix the gut biome, and the outreach on Instagram was wild. The people who write, and they'd share their stories with you, and then they'd share something that had helped them. And there is really a community out there. And I'm sure there are for a lot of things, but this was our first foray into something as fucking evil. Evil. Anything that goes at kids is just evil. And our daughter was 4, and now she's 5. And her little hair is growing back, and she still has the port in her chest for the infusions, and 0 complaints. The only thing she'll complain about is every now and then, because her body can't sweat yet. Not that it's not allowed to, that she's incapable of it because of this, a year of this medicine. But she'll say she gets itchy when she's hot. Mm-hmm. But other than that, she doesn't complain about her vitamins. She doesn't complain about the medicine, and she injects like this, and I'm like, she's doing it by herself, and she looks like she's doing Jello shots. It's wild. And I think the answer to your question is there is no way you're not doing it. So that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. You are not a victim. You are, how can I take this situation by the horns, wrestle it to the ground, and pin this bitch? And that's what our 5-year-old did. That's what my wife did. And I'm watching these 2 incredibly strong women. I'm also watching my older kids and my other son. I have Henry, Jack, Sloan, Zane, Monroe, and I watch them all just grow and internalize this strength and come through it. And I'm like, yep, I'm in too. So there's no quit. My wife and I sat the first 2 days in the hospital just staring at her. My wife spending the night, and I'd go home and make sure Zane, our 9-year-old, was cool, then 8. And then I'd come back to the hospital. And then after the second day, I said, babe, this is not productive. I need to go back to work. I need to earn. I need to serve the clients. I need to provide a normal household for our son. I'll shift the hours a little bit, but we're going to, right? The show must go on. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we're going to figure it out.
And I think the important part of it is, like, this is your journey. I don't know that there's any right way to deal with it. And I mean, the way you say it, it's unbelievable. I mean, and you got to be strong for your wife. You got to be strong for your daughter. But what inside of you going through this? I'm sure something has changed. What's changed in you?
My fucking hair went gray, dude. What happened? I go back. Callback is a skill. I think, what would my mom have done?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm thinking about your mom, like all these things you're saying, that the characteristics that you've had. You told me earlier your mom's instilled a lot of that.
When I got divorced, I made it. There was kind of an off-color joke at the time, and I said it, and my mother paused, and then she burst out laughing, and she goes, "Your sense of humor will get you through this." And I think maybe not the sense of humor, but your sense of, I'm not going to be beaten. I'm not letting leukemia beat me. I'm not letting that beat my family. My daughter's not, my wife's not. We are in lockstep here, and we're not losing, period. Period. So run it back, go again. I don't, whatever it takes, we are coming out on top of this.
Between you and your wife, and I think, tell me if it's different from you, but I think people talk about business. I think in business, if you don't have the right spouse, it's very, very difficult. And I think when you go through things like that, everyone handles things differently. Yep. How are you guys able to navigate that? Because how you might be upset or grieve with something is different from her. How are you guys able to balance that?
My wife, so we stayed, obviously we both learned.
Still, I know you guys are going through something.
We both learned about it the same day. I have more knowledge in health and wellness just because of my field than she did. So I will say I was a little bit ahead in the beginning. She buried herself in the literature. She went down every rabbit hole. I went down some. We learned about medicines at the same time. She learned about the other medicines that I didn't. Mm-hmm. So she definitely took the point. And my reaction to that was not competition, was not, hey, wait, don't leave without me. It was, okay, that's your role. That's your mama bear. I get it. I'm going to focus on our son who is at home because the older three are gone. I'm going to focus on what he needs because you still have to provide he's at the time 8. He doesn't, what does that mean? He doesn't know what cancer is. He thinks it's a zodiac sign. Like, he doesn't understand that. And you don't want to spook him, but he has to understand why his sister's at a hospital, why she's losing weight, why her hair fell out, why her eyebrows are gone. And that changes your look. But his life should stay as normal as possible so that he doesn't go off the rails. He's at school at the same time. His lunches are the same. His clothes are still washed. He's at practice on time. His uniform's ready. He plays travel soccer. So I'm going to take him to Alabama. We're going to go to Cincinnati. I'm taking him to Kentucky. We're doing these trips, and we're showing up. And no, Mom and Monroe aren't there, but we're going to do it. And my wife's family rose to the occasion like nobody's business. My wife's mother came in town, helped out. My wife's sister Jill came in town. My wife's sister Karen came in town. Her brother-in-law Sean came in town. People come in, and our nephew Jordan, Charlie, Juliet, my kids Henry, Jack, and Sloan came in, whether it's for a day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, and everybody chipping in. It takes a village. There's a reason that's a saying, and they all rose to the occasion. My wife on it, I mean, like a honey badger, like rah. And I was more stand back because when it's her time to go, I'm her backup. If she pulls off, I'll step forward. Sometimes she'd say, would you write the email to the doctors? Mm-hmm. And I go, yep, I got you, babe. Anything you want me to say, just give me a couple bullet points and I'll weave it in. And I'd write it. Or if she felt like her emails were falling on deaf ears, hey, babe, I wrote this, but I think maybe this better if it comes from you. I go, I got it. And I do it. And you do what you have to do, right? It's just like running your business. Mm-hmm. Years ago, I had these 2 NFL guys who were training together, and one of them they were egging each other on, but in a super derogatory, toxic masculinity, hilarious, nothing I like more way. And one of them puked. And I have this thing, I have a puke bucket, right? It's painted pink for obvious reasons. I'm like, oh, here, little boy, you puking? And he's puking. That's never my goal in a workout, but they were pushing each other. And when he puked, by like the 3rd time he puked, he goes, it's out of me. Let's fucking go. I was like, oh my God, it's psychotic. That's why they're pros. And at the end of it, my next client was an actress. She was on a bike and she had seen some of this. And I said, give me 2 minutes. And I took the puke bucket and I ran it back to the bathroom. And she goes, you clean the puke bucket? I go, well, it's not going to clean itself. My thought is, I'm on the gym floor. It's my guy. What, am I going to let it sit and ferment while I train her and then the next 4 people? No. So I do that. We do what we have to do in order to keep everything moving. And I think part of that attitude, like my mom would say, you pick it up, you clean it, you fix it, you cook it, whatever it is. That's just what you do to keep it all going. And if you think you're above any of those tasks, then somewhere along the line, like, you've lost the plot.
Are you doing anything different in business right now, or is it business as usual?
Vis-a-vis my daughter?
Yeah.
Look, I changed my business when I came here. Part of the deal with my wife was I wasn't going to see 10 to 12 people a day for hour-long sessions. I was going to pare it back to 5, and I would do school pickup and after-school activities. So I do that. So I get to the gym usually at 4:40, right around there, which is same as I did in LA. But in LA, I came home at 6. Now I'm done at 2, and I do school pickup 2:30, and I carry on until we're home from whatever practice happens, and that's either 5, 6, 7, 7:30, and then I prep for the next day. So the hours are still the same, but what fills the hours is different and frankly more rewarding. And I'm not a big fan of the words balance or journey, but that's just personal preference. I would say I'm not balanced, but I'm more balanced.
So what, I mean, we kind of have a similar path. We were in, the funny part is my wife and I lived in a high rise right across the street from
In
where,
LA.
in LA from where your training was. And we went to Newport Beach for that. But we left LA just, we were looking to have another child. We have a beautiful son now, Lincoln. And I was kind of getting tired of the toxicity of which was LA. I didn't want to raise another child there. And we made a move to Nashville about 2 years ago. But I mean, when you talk about A-list and celebrity clients, like that's kind of where you've got to be if you're going to be with them. So that had to be a tougher decision on you to get out of there. What prompted that?
There were probably 3 or 4 things that, as I saw it, because I made myself believe this, that just lined up. And honey, look, it's a sign. She's like, it's not a sign. And that's just you making up some shit to tie it all together to justify something you want to do. Well, there's that. The lease at my gym was coming up that June. My rent was prohibitive. My landlord was, got to choose the right word here, not cool.
Not cool. Okay.
Read into that what you will.
It's kind of like the pink bucket.
My oldest, my older daughter was finishing high school and going off to college. My boys were already, one had already graduated from Duke. The other one was at SMU and just about to finish. And my daughter, Sloan, ended up going to Duke. So they were out of LA, essentially. And my son, my 9-year-old Zane, was about to start first grade. No disrespect to kindergarten teachers, but to me, that's when like it all starts and memories and that for them. And I said to my wife, it's time to go. I've done it here. It's time to go. It's time to go. She didn't want to go. I said, I'm not going to force you, but this is crazy. Like if we didn't have these 2 younger children, it's a different thing. We stay here, we work, we pay crazy rent, but who cares because it's just us and whatever. But now we have little kids. Like you got to I look at them and I don't see just their little faces. I see years and years of schooling, food, and clothing that needs to be provided for. For me to just pay that to a landlord in a toxic rent situation is not smart. And then we got an offer unsolicited on our house that was out of this world. And I said to my wife, honey, that's the universe talking.
That's a sign.
Yeah, that's a sign. The rest is maybe bullshit, but that's a sign. And whether she agreed or not, she did come, kind of dragging her feet. But when she got here, we found a path, and she met 2 wonderful friends, and we have great family connections here, and that we've made with these families, the Bananos and the Pritts, and they're just great people, and our kids get along, and the dads get along, and the moms get along, so we can vacation with them. And so when that lined up, it just worked. It was time. I have nothing bad to say about LA. Did LA change? Yeah, doesn't every city change? Don't we all at some point evolve, change, call it what you want? Did it get better? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I think a lot of things point to not. A lot of the rules were changing. I don't think the city is, I don't think when they have their city meetings in Beverly Hills or West Hollywood that they're going, hey, let's make this super friendly for independent trainers to open gyms. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's on the docket. Mm-hmm. So, and I told my guy, Brad, who's there, I said, dude, move with me. I go, they're in a way with these rent costs and all the rules and what you're allowed to do and how many people, I go, they're kind of forcing you out. Yes, it's gentle, but it's consistent, right? And there's this shift, this tectonic shift that's like that. Read the room. Time to go. I'm out. You're not going to leave. I go, I'm leaving. And I left. And he's like, holy shit, he left. But I don't have bad things to say about LA. I mean, I had great kids there, great life, happy with my career there, met my wife there. My older kids are phenomenal. Like the city they didn't get caught up in the bullshit. They're normal, funny, smart, observational, observant kids. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard one. Sometimes there's a lot of people who go around there and you see they're just not dialed in. but my kids are dialed in. So I have great things to say about LA. It was just time to go, time for a change.
Yeah. Was it the right decision to move to Nashville?
Well, what's that other? Let's just do old sayings, Rob. Me and you just. It's you, Gunnar. It's not me. What's that old saying? Make the right decision, then make the decision right. So I live by that. I mean, at some point, if you weigh it out and you look at it from as many ways as you can, you got to make a decision at some point. You do it. Now you've done it. Now make it right.
Well, I mean, I think, look, I've got a love-hate relationship with LA also. And I think there's some of the things that you talked about, though, just from a pure, this is the American Capitalist show, right? From a pure economic standpoint, they just don't get what it is. I mean, capital is going to go where it's appreciated.
But they did. Look,
They did.
Back in the day,
They used to.
When I came up through the ranks of fitness, from training people in their homes to playing... let me change that. From cat and mouse training people in a gym where I was not sanctioned as a trainer, to training people in their homes, to working at a small private gym, to having my own gym in my house, to having a commercial space gym, I was able, because of what that city offers, to do, for me, I'm not saying that was great by anybody else's standards, but I felt great about what I did, and I feel like the city provided that, really set the table for me to be able to execute and achieve if I was willing to put in the work, which I was. Now, I don't know that it's that way anymore. I think now as a trainer, it's tough. It's tough to secure a space. The costs are crazy. The parking requirements for a gym, you need when I was there, I don't know, maybe the codes have changed. For an open gym, you needed 10 spaces per 1,000 square feet, right? Do the math. You have a 5,000 square foot gym, which is a good size, but it's not massive.
50 spaces.
You need 50 spaces in LA. Good luck. So they changed some things when I was coming up, because I made the argument. There are never more than 4 people in my gym at any time. Never. Me, one other trainer, the 2 clients. Then we had a girl who came to work for us, so 5 spaces. I should need 5 spaces even if I have 20,000 square feet. So I had a 5,000 square foot gym. My parking requirements were 5 per 1,000, 25 spaces. Still 25 spaces in the heart of Beverly Hills, hard to do.
Yeah, good luck.
And that's hard. So then you have to lease parking from a lot across the street and show that you've leased that. So that's in addition to your rent. So, for anybody out there opening a gym, talk to me. I can walk you through this. And this is also crazy because the city knows it's happening. There's a lot across the street that has 40 spaces. So you can lease 25 of them. But there's a restaurant here that opened that had to do parking. They already leased 20. The city knows they've leased it. They know you're leased. So this guy's leasing these spaces all day long. He has 40 spaces. He might have leased out 150 of them because the argument is, well, not everybody's there at the same time. And I'm like, right. So why do I need them? Not everybody's in my gym at the same time. But that's the code. So they're not going to have the conversation with you. They're not willing to change it. They're not willing to look at it on a case-by-case basis because they don't have the time or the manpower. Fine, I got it. But that makes it really hard to get ahead. So then you find something that was grandfathered in. Yeah, good luck. Anybody that has that, it's not unlike a liquor license. Anybody that has that liquor license, that restaurant with the liquor license is going to be a restaurant till the end of time. Not just because they have stoves and things to cook with back there. It's because the liquor license comes with the address. So you want to turn that into, a manicure place or a medical office. Nope. It has to be something with a liquor license.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a friend who's renting a space in West Hollywood there, I think $35,000 a month. And he's got a tent of homeless people that's pitched literally right outside the front door. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Yeah. That started. I will say we didn't have that. You saw it, and it is a problem. It's a real problem there, and we saw it, and we had people on occasion roll into the gym, and that's unfortunate. It's more unfortunate for the person who's in the predicament of being homeless than it is for us to have someone come to the gym. God forbid you're such an elitist that you can't deal with that. But what the argument is, but you're paying such high rent and such high taxes that with that comes the assumption that the city will protect you from that or shield you from that in some way, but they just don't have the manpower to do it. So sorry, there's overflow. Sorry. And that's at those prices. Look, at those prices, you just expect better. But the city makes their zero apology, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Except leave. And again,
Well, and that's the problem. People are leaving.
no problem. But
they're-
that's not a problem.
Yeah.
No problem. What will happen is the city at some point will keep raising the rates, and the people that stay will have to absorb the costs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into economics with you because I don't want you to dunk on me. But or they'll have to make changes to make people want to come back in. But if you look at what they did with the film industry, they pushed a lot of business out with the taxes and tariffs, right? So people shooting in Kentucky, people shooting in New Orleans, people shooting in Canada, because you made it so prohibitive. Who wants to shoot there and pay those when you can't shoot on weekends? Or, like, you can only have this many hours. So they just go and do them elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, who's going to be left to pay the taxes? I don't know, because I think there was an op-ed piece in the Los Angeles Times saying, "No, this is bullshit. They've been talking all the time that California's going to lose taxpayers." And then finally it happened, and he had to come out and basically, "Oh shit, it's happening." People are leaving in record numbers. They're coming to places like Nashville. They're going to places like Texas, Florida, where there's, oh, surprise, no state income tax. Why would I pay 14% when I could pay 0 and actually have some rule of law around here where I could actually go out and feel safe? And that's another issue, Gunnar, I think, over there when you start losing tax dollars and everything, and you start not being able to hire the right police department. We use weather as a great excuse for a long period of time until we saw even in Newport Beach, people, hey, you can't wear a nice watch out there if someone's putting a gun to your head. Those are issues. I think when people don't feel safe, that's a problem. Forget everything else, you know?
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
When we came here, we moved into a gated community. I said to my wife, "What are we doing?" She goes, "I want to feel safe." I go, "In Franklin? You worried?" Like, fair. Her feelings are valid, whether what they're founded on or not is real. If those are her feelings, right? I'm in love. Are you really? You've known her 3 days. If you feel it, I'll give it to you. Yeah. So she didn't feel safe, or she wanted to feel a certain way behind certain gates. No problem. We'll do it. Now she's seen it and she's come around, and now we're more. I don't want to say tiptoe. She's definitely up for what my original vision was of this, which is a farm with some land so the kids can have different kinds of chores and be outdoors and that kind of stuff. So so that's the next chapter for sure.
I don't want to say too many nice things about Nashville because it's already starting to get crowded here, and although we could use some better restaurants and some other things there for great entrepreneurs. There's some big opportunity.
You know,
here.
Craig's is coming here.
I heard that. Yeah.
Do you know Craig? Craig Susser?
I don't know him personally. I have friends that are good friends of his.
Oh, phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
Craig Susser of Craig's in LA, right there on Melrose. It's coming here downtown to the Gulch.
That's what I heard.
They took I think it's a standalone building, and they're gutting it, renovating it, and they're just making it. I think it's gonna be unbelievable.
I mean, everything's coming here. Oracle's moving here. There's a lot of stuff moving here, which, I mean, is great for property values. Although I think you got in a better time than I did, but it's a great place. But okay, look, so you made this move to Nashville. You got this amazing gym that you're getting ready to open up now. Well, you have your gym open up. You're expanding the gym. What are you doing different in terms of business out here versus in LA? What do you see that's different here?
Trying to get better.
Always. Same thing.
Always. Yeah. I don't remember. I actually said to my other trainer, I said to Colin and Adam when I left, they go, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to do a podcast." They go, "What podcast? I said, "Rob Luna, do you know him?" And they go, "No." I just remember he came in and said, "Oh yeah, what does that guy do?" I said, he's a money guy. He's on Fox. And they go, "Like numbers, money, like that?" And I go, "Yeah." They go, "Dude, you're a trainer. You count on your fingers." I go, "I know." I go, "Rob doesn't know that yet." We're going to talk about everything but that. I just do one thing. I literally just do one thing. I train people, and I try to make fitness accessible to people. There's so many people who I think feel maybe disenfranchised is too hard a word, but like they've run into the fitness wall enough times that they just like, "I'm not doing that again." Mm-hmm. And I can't encourage them enough. It's never over. Your body is super forgiving. I train people who were super heavy. I train people who did copious amounts of drugs and are cleaned up and have come back. I train people who had alcohol consumption issues like they were fucking pirates, and they're still like, they're back. The body is forgiving. You can, like, fitness is available to everyone. And that's such a low bar of entry. Like, it's so easy to get into it, whether it's a walk, whether it's push-ups at home, whether it's download one of the million apps out there, whether it's join a gym, get a trainer, pick up a sport. There's so many ways to do it. So I train people, and I try to, if anybody asks me, I try to respond to all DMs, and I just say, yes, no, here, do this, try this. And I've had people that work with me go, that's a terrible use of your time answering DMs. I go, why would I not do that? If somebody took the time to reach out to me, I'm going to reach out back. If I don't have an answer, I'm not going to make it up. But if there's something I can help that gets them, if I'm their on-ramp to the fitness highway, I want to help that. I want to do that. There's plenty of lanes on the highway. It's not too crowded. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So that's what the new part of the gym will be. Somebody goes, just going to be more of the same? I go, yeah, it's going to be more of the same. How many pairs of shoes do you have? Yeah, it's more of the same, okay? Yeah, that's what it'll be.
So look, again, a lot of people are listening to this, entrepreneurs, they're trying to get started. We've got Gunnar Peterson here. We talked about all the success that you've had. We talked about, some of the challenges that we're all going to deal with, some of our family, that shit isn't good all the time, right? And now you're at a point where you're trying to build and grow. A lot of people are looking at you and saying, okay, Gunnar, if I'm this 25 or 30-year-old Gunnar today, knowing what you know now, what would you have done different?
The age-old answer is I would do nothing different, because everything I did got me here sitting with Rob Luna on The American Capitalist, which is cool. I would say get certified. You could argue certifications mean nothing. I know a lot of trainers who are certified that suck, and I know a lot of trainers who are phenomenal who've never been certified. Same, I do too. But get it so it's in your back pocket. Get insurance. It's not expensive. Get insurance as a trainer. Very few, if any, suits have ever been in the favor of the client. It just doesn't work like that. But you want that in your back pocket. Somebody says, you dropped the weight on my toe and I can't walk, which means I can't work, and you owe me this. You just want to have insurance. Doesn't have to be crazy policy. Get certified by someone that's respected. Get, the gold standard is the NSCA, CSCS, National Strength and Conditioning Association. There's NASM, there's ACSM. There are a number of good ones out there. Have that in your pocket so that if you do go work for a big box gym, if that's how you start, or if that's where you wind down to because doing it on your own is too much, you can at least say, I'm certified and I'm insured. That stops a lot of the early trepidation on the part of the people hiring. And then I would say live it. Live it. I'm not saying weigh your food and walk around with a jug of distilled water like a meathead, but I'm saying, like, make good choices in general, work out in general, stay in shape. You don't have to be sub 10% body fat. You don't have to walk around totally diesel and jacked with inflated traps. Women don't have to walk around looking like they just got a BBL, but look the part. Look the part. Mm-hmm. Because you're your own billboard. And it doesn't mean that you won't get hired if you're not, but it's a way you're making the road more uphill than it needs to be. Look the part. Look like you work out. Mm-hmm. Move like you know how to move in all three planes of motion, and you know how to change direction, and you're not like clumsy and stumbling because you don't work out and you've never done a sport. And like I said, I just was in New Jersey with a guy who I just love this guy, and I love what he's trying to do with his life and his body. And there was a bicycle. It was an e-bike at his house, and that's what I went to. And I literally, I don't think I've been on a bike in 20 years, like a real bike. I was motoring, and they'd say just like riding a bike, right? It is just like riding a bike, but you got to have that skill set. He couldn't believe that I just got on it and started going. But you're athletic, you move every day. There are a lot of things that, my kids are blown away. Dad, how did you learn to juggle? I'm like, I was on a ski vacation in Austria. We were snowed in, and my brother and I sat in our hotel room with a book called, I think it was called Juggling for Dunces, and we practiced with these little balls we got for Christmas. You just do stuff and you learn, and then you have all those skills that help you later in life. So as a trainer, have the skills. Know how to ride a bike.
And I think what you're saying, I mean, really relates to any business, my business, other businesses. When you say certification, you got to invest in yourself. You got to put in the time, the energy, the effort. You talk about getting insurance. I mean, a lot of people don't use any type of risk management techniques at all. They wind up getting sued. They're out of it. And then you're saying kind of be authentic, live it. If you're going to tell people how to save money or those things, you shouldn't be running up credit card debt and gambling in Las Vegas or all those things, I think, which is good. But I know when I look back at things, I see some things where like, oh shit, I just wish I learned this 7 years earlier.
No,
is there
yeah.
any one lesson that you could have learned sooner?
So take the opportunities that present themselves. I was offered a couple of projects that I financially should have done, but my heart wasn't in them. I was offered Biggest Loser right away, or like, I don't know, second year.
Why didn't you do it?
It's not for me. That wasn't the demographic I was working with. I was so ensconced in training the people that I was training 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, every day. And it was just feeding me. I was enjoying it. I was growing. I loved the people I was working with. I couldn't imagine telling all of them, hey guys, I'm going to step away for a couple months here and go out to Malibu and live on the ranch and train these people for this show and self-aggrandizement. And I would have lost everybody. The rate of attrition would have been crazy, in my opinion. Again, that could just be fear talking. Maybe they would have liked it and said, it's great, my trainer's on TV. I don't know. But it wasn't right for me. Looking back on it, financially, I probably missed my shot, but I don't lament not leaving the people, double negative. I love that I stayed with those people, and those people provided so much to me. One of your earlier questions, you said, working around those people, ultra high net worth acronym, but to me, working around the high achievers is the most exhilarating thing because of how they go after things, because of how there's no obstacle that's going to stop them. Kris Jenner trained with me for years, and Kris would be in the gym on the treadmill at 5:30 in the morning having an intense conversation with somebody on the East Coast, and she's just firing and crushing. The fact that she drove in from where she lives to where my gym was and is on the phone banging out deals for her clan, for the family, for the group. That's just beautiful. Like that's a manager, like that's a worker, that's a business person. I like seeing that. That makes me handle my calls in the afternoon just a little bit differently. I got a little bit of Kris Jenner juju right now, and I'm coming for it. So I like working around those people. I want to be around those high achievers. I want to be around those people who don't take no, who come with purpose and intention. If I say to my wife, we're moving to Tennessee and I'm setting up a gym and I'm buying property, we're doing it. Like that's because I've seen I've been lucky enough to work around all those people that have done so much, whether it's movies, television, production, music, athletics. They get drafted, they get that big contract, they get moved up. I worked with a guy on the Lakers who was on our G League team, who came up, and he just kept, blowing it up in the G League, and then the Lakers would bring him up for a couple games, 10 days. He was one of those two-way players we had. He was on our championship team in 2020. He just won with the Thunder. Like, you're working with a guy like that who's like, that's just fun to be around people who will not be denied.
Yeah, I agree. I think mindset is everything. And, I have something called the Wealth Academy where I teach people entrepreneurship, finance, people that are just getting into it. And a lot of people push back at me and sometimes like, Rob, you're talking about two big numbers. They can't relate to that. I'm like, that's the problem, right? They're told that this is the number for them. This is how much they can earn. And when you get around people, and I think for me, it's just been, I grew up super poor, right? But I got around people and saw like, oh shit, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs. If I can do it, why can't they do it? So I think if we limit people's beliefs, being around these higher achievers, it causes people to think bigger. That's why I'm doing this show, to let people know, hey, why do I have Gunnar Peterson? Because if you are a trainer, you could be Gunnar Peterson. Or if you're an accountant, you should be that person. And I think that mindset's
why would I succeed in my business? I'm average size.
Right.
I'm a certain age. Why? There's no reason. I'm just like any other trainer out there. I will just outwork you. I will take Jennifer Lopez training at 3:15 in the morning for the movie Enough. I'm getting up at what time? I'm getting up at 1:30 so I can get a quick workout in, so all my synapses are firing and I'm showered and I'm ready to roll. And when she walks in at 3:15, it might as well be 3:15 in the afternoon for all you know. You'll never know other than it's pitch black outside. But I'm ready to go because she's ready to go. Can you imagine you have the person who's pushing their life, and you go, yeah, I can't. That's just early for me, and you're in the wrong business.
Well, and I think that's every business these days. And I think I keep telling you entrepreneurs that the bar is getting set so low. There's never been a better, it's crazy, Gunnar. We just moved out here a couple of years ago just to get people to, I want to give you money to come build something or do something or wash our dogs, or just to get someone to return a call. That's how my wife and I are like, oh, this is the person to go through. They got back to us 2 days later. It's crazy.
On that note, it goes the other way. I've had the trainers reach out to me. We might have talked about this in the gym. I've had the trainers reach out to me. I'd love to meet with you. And if you don't mind, if you could sit down, I just want to ask you some questions. And I go, yeah, but I also know it's not smart of me to do that during an earning hour. If I can why would I do that at 8, 9, 10 a.m. when you have in LA, that's a solid block of client, right? Of client time. Like I'm not going to meet with a trainer who's up and coming. But what I used to say is, why don't you come by at 5, jump in on our workout, and we'll talk then while we're working out. And I get this, a.m.? Yeah, 5 a.m. You want me to come at 5 a.m.? No, you want to come at 5 a.m. They go, that's early. I go, yeah, because we're trainers. I mean, if I'm a DJ, I would have said, why don't you swing by the booth at 11 p.m.? Like, I'm not a DJ.
Yeah.
Come by at 5 a.m. And to see how many of them were like, yeah, let me see, and didn't show up. And I thought, you called me. You called me. I gave you a time, and it was too early for you. To me, that's tough for me to bring you around to the mindset of being available to train somebody at 3:15 for a major motion picture.
To train people that are at the highest level. And I think, it's kind of what why you're here, right? And this whole podcast is, how do you operate at the highest level? Because I think people that operate at the highest level, yes, capitalism, they make more money, but that helps you achieve the highest version of yourself. And I think at the end of the day, for me, like the last thing I want to do is be on my deathbed and say like, oh shit, like I'm second place or I'm third place. I wish I did this or I wish I did that. No one ever says like, I took too much risk or I didn't do enough. And I feel like everything that you're saying about this, everything that you're doing comes down to a few things, and correct me if I'm wrong. Common sense, work ethic, doing what you say you're going to do, always trying to be a better version of yourself. You say you're out here right now, under promising, over delivering. I think a lot of people were looking for some secret sauce, but I think you're showing people like the basics, humility, all these things that I think are a lost art, are attributed to a lot of your success.
Yeah, I think the lost arts are wanting to work for it. It's always, how do I jump ahead? There's a kid here, he goes, I want to learn. He goes, I'm going to learn everything that you learned in 30 years in 6 months. I'm like, first of all, that's so insulting. Second of all, I hope you do. Good luck. Zero chance. Zero chance. You can't amass the experiences. Like I tell my kids on certain things, it's not that I'm smarter than you. I'm older. I've seen the movie, literally and figuratively. If we're watching a movie and I go, watch that guy, just watch him. Like, is he the bad guy? You'll see. How do you know? It's not because I can intuit that and I'm so smart, because I've seen the movie. Same in life. I've seen this. So I know that you're not going to learn everything I learned in 6 months. Good luck. But that's a great mindset if you follow through. But if you get to the 6 months, you realize you're still way behind and then you fall off or you decelerate, that's on you.
Yeah. Well, look, I could say we worked out with you. It's the best training experience that I've ever had in my life, and I'm not just saying that. I'm gonna try to get you to train us more consistent.
Yeah.
I know you're backed
Hell
up,
yeah.
but it was amazing. And the probably one of the best parts of it, and I know Sly didn't like it, was the stretching at the end. Man, that was some of the best. I don't think I ever got stretched out by a man and was happy about it, but it was amazing.
It's key, and mostly the stretch I do for people is posterior chain. It's the stuff you probably won't stretch on your own.
I won't.
Yeah.
I definitely won't. But so what's next for Gunnar? Where do you go from here?
We're going to still pump up the app Common Ground. We're still going to keep just loading what we feel is quality material on it. We have a TV show we're trying to get made that's just going to depend on if we can get the right people behind it. Lindsey Vaughn, who trained with me for a long time, who I adore, and I had an idea, and we put a deck together with a couple other people, and we'll see if we can shop that to the right places and the right people, and then just making the gym better. That's on the business front, right? I want this addition to come together. We get everything lined up in there, and then it has a flow to it. It's great. And other than that, I mean, again, part of the reason I came here is to keep honing in on the family. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds corny for some people, but for me, family's everything. My wife, my 5 kids, if I don't have those conversations, those interactions with them all the time, and you can say, my wife and I used to joke, needy husband alert, needy father alert, and I'll write my kids, needy father alert. I'll write my wife, needy husband alert. She's like, Jesus, babe, I talked to you 3 hours ago. I go, I know. I got a lot of thoughts up here. I've had a lot of experiences in those 3 hours. I need somebody to talk. That's why I married you. So I like those connections. I like them to be deep. I like them to be lasting, just stacking the memories, because like you said, you don't want to be on your deathbed and go,
yeah,
I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any. I mean, it's inevitable, but I don't want any regrets, remorse, and I'm not doing that.
And let me ask this: I know as we're finishing up, your family is clearly very important to you. You know, when you're not around, what's the one thing you want your kids to say that Dad did? Not what he said he was going to do, but that he did that lasts with them.
Did I?
What do you do?
I was always there for them in everything. I answered the calls. Even last night, my son called and I just sat to dinner, and my oldest, and I said, Hen, I just sat down to dinner. Are you good? Is everything cool? And he said, yeah. I said, I want to be here. I don't want to be on the phone. We're sitting. And he goes, I get it, Dad. Call me later. Mm-hmm. But like, that's the most, I'll always answer the phone. My phone's not with me, but even if I'm doing something and it rings, I'll say, give me 2 seconds. It's my kid. Mm-hmm. Because you want to answer that call for all of them. Mm-hmm. And for my brother and for my dad, and of course my mom was not here, but she's everywhere, I guess. But my brother called me this morning when I was doing cardio, and he lives in Europe, and he's like, I fucking knew you'd be up. What are you doing? You're riding the bike, right? And we talked about just inane, brother, best friend, guys who've done it all together, and I'm not missing that call. Mm-hmm. I'm not going, I'm doing cardio, let me get back to him. I'm going to take that call. If he can deal with my breathing hard, then we're going to have that chat. So answer the call, be there. I want my kids to say I was there for them. My brother knows I'm always there for him. My dad, my parents know that. My wife, that's just, all that transcends the business. Like, the business is final. Let me give you my final, got to pull out more old quotes. Do you remember when there was the America's Cup, before it was called the America's Cup, the sailing race?
Yep.
You know the quote I'm going to, right?
No.
I think the Queen was looking, or the Queen had somebody looking, and she said, who's in first? This is, you can look this up. And her person who looked for her said, the Americans are in first. And she said, who's in second? And as lore has it, he looked back, and he said, there is no second. And to me, the family stuff is first, and there is no second. Yes, the gym, all those things, but it's not even close.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, man, I appreciate you sharing all this. I know you're a super busy guy, and I think everything you shared is going to, hopefully people are going to take that, implement it into their life, change their life for the better. And that's, at the end of the day, everything we're talking about, things that you're dealing with your daughter, what you're doing in your personal life, how you're spending more time with them. You know, capitalism, I think it gets a lot of punishment out there. It's not about the money. To me, it's not about stacking things. It's about freedom. It's about choice. It's about giving people opportunity. It's about being there for your daughter. It's about all those things. That's what it allows you to do. And it's the only tool I know how to improve people's lives.
Somebody said to me once, your biggest mistake is you think money buys happiness. And I said, time out. Don't put words in my mouth. I don't think money buys happiness. I think money gives you the freedom. Watch this, a lot of conditionals. I think money provides the freedom for you to pursue what you think might make you happy. And enough money provides you the freedom when you realize that doesn't provide you happiness to back out of it and pursue something else. It just provides freedom.
Well, thanks so much, man. And you guys that are watching this out there, please, if you like this, hit subscribe, share this with somebody. My goal personally is to change the lives of 1 million people through financial independence, through financial literacy. There's not enough of it out there. So if you like it, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much, man, for coming out. Appreciate it, sharing all this.
Rob, you're the man. If I had met you back in the day, I would have so much money that we'd be doing this on my island.